Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, September 5th, 2025. And September sure let us know it was here, shorts to sweatshirts in one day. Okay, on the front, a meaningful partnership. Curling for a Cure donates $20,030 to Neepawa Cancer Care Program by Casper Warehan. And pictured, representatives of Minnedosa's Curling for a Cure were in Neepawa on August 29th for its first official presentation in a major 10-year commitment. Those representatives are pictured here with Christina Woodcock, Manager of Health Services, far right, and Christy Friesen, Oncology Nurse, second from right. Friesen accepted the check from Curling for a Cure event organizer Chad Yanchiski, third from right, on behalf of the Neepawa Cancer Care Program. Each of the Curling for a Cure representatives present, including the youth seen in the front row, were ecstatic to be in Neepawa for the presentation. The names of the remaining representatives were not available by the paper's print deadline. Patient comfort and ease of treatment is a top priority in the Neepawa Health Center. Last week, the furthering of that pursuit received a major boost from a local initiative near and dear to the hearts of many. On Friday, August 29th, members of Minnedosa's Curling for a Cure committee met with Christina Woodcock, Manager of Health Services, and Christy Friesen, Oncology Nurse, to present a donation of $20,030 in support of the Neepawa Community Cancer Care Program. These funds were raised during the 2025 Curling for a Cure event, which raised a total of $40,060. This monetary support was split 50-50 between the Candlelighters Childhood Cancer Support Group and the Neepawa Community Cancer Care Program. The Neepawa donation is the first in a major 10-year commitment to the community. And that's continued on this page. The donations of any size, but especially one this large, will increase the comfort and quality of care for the patients who come here to receive treatment, said Woodcock. We'll be receiving a new fleet of treatment chairs. They'll be heated and compliant with today's infection control requirements. The number of chairs to arrive totals 5, with the received funds covering 4 of these valuable patient care instruments. This donation is particularly special because the funds have been raised in honor of someone who was a cancer care patient and is near and dear to their heart, Woodcock enthused. It means a lot to have their support. Curling for a Cure got its start with Nick Melnick in 2018, raising funds for cancer research and care. Melnick passed away just a few days following the conclusion of the inaugural event, and the initiative was carried on in his memory by friends, family, and the broader community. For Curling for a Cure committee representative Chad Yanchiski noted that Friday's check presentation was an exciting first step. We're so honored to work with the Neepawa community and to be able to provide support for the care of the people in the area. It's incredible, he said. These services are very important to have in the community and surrounding area, and to be able to help make that care a little easier is super important to us. Looking to the future, he expressed a desire to truly build a presence in Neepawa. We want to continue to encourage people from Neepawa to learn about what we do and continue to encourage people to get involved, he said. We really want to plant some roots here, and if anyone has questions, please reach out to us to learn more. Part of this plan includes becoming involved in Neepawa's community events, such as parades, where possible. The Curling for a Cure Committee can be contacted via email at curlingforacure@gmail.com. Further information can also be found on their social media. And continuing on. The Neepawa Salvation Army seeks food bank donations by Joshua Jackson. And pictured at the top right, the Neepawa Salvation Army has seen an uptick in usage of its food bank over the summer and is calling on the public for donations of time, money, and food as they try to restock the pantry. And pictured in the lower, the Salvation Army is looking for items such as pasta sauce, canned meat, canned fruits, cereal, back-to-school snacks, peanut butter, jam, Cheese Whiz, canned vegetables, beans, ready-to-eat soups and stews, and any other items you can spare to donate. The Salvation Army in Neepawa is urgently calling on the community for help as its food bank shelves are running bare. They are looking for items such as pasta sauce, canned meat, canned fruit, cereal, back-to-school snacks, peanut butter, jam, Cheese Whiz, canned vegetables, beans, ready-to-eat soups, and stews and other items you can spare to donate. Neepawa Salvation Army Community Ministries Director Amanda Nightingale said they've seen an uptick in usage over the summer, which has left their pantry needing some essential items. She noted that a variety of people are coming and using their services. It's people who are unemployed and people are moving to the community. The amount of money that people are making is just not enough to support their bills and pay for food, she said. Some of that has to do with inflation, and some of it has to do with tariffs, and some of it has to do with unemployment and other factors that are happening within our community. Over the summer, the Neepawa Salvation Army hosted a summer snack program to help parents with extra snacks when school was not in session. During that time, they were assisting about 36 families, totaling around 78 kids with snacks. Nightingale noticed they definitely see a bit of an increase around this time of year. You've got all of the back-to-school costs, you have to be prepared for lunches, and everything else. The lunch programs or the breakfast programs aren't quite running this week, so it'll take a little bit of time for everybody to get back into the swing of things, she said. How can you help? There are 3 ways you can help the Neepawa Salvation Army: by donating food, donating money, or donating your time. Whether that is extra garden produce or you see a great deal, there are fantastic deals at the grocery stores, and if you think it's a great deal, it would be a great deal for us too. People love to buy one and give one. If people have time to donate and help, we've got positions to fill, like drivers for doing our food rescue and helping people select their food through the food bank. Nightingale added that sometimes money goes a little farther because the food bank gets exactly what they need, as opposed to what people think they need. As well, their new space nearing completion. They'll need some other folks to help support programming and services that the Salvation Army in Neepawa will be hosting. Nightingale noted that now is the time when people are starting to harvest their gardens, and if you got it, excess produce or fresh fruits, they'll take it. We can take fresh garden produce in whatever quantity, however you have it. And if you have it in bags or boxes that you don't want back, that's perfect for us because we can process it as needed, said the Community Ministries Director. What we don't use in the food bank, we put in our free-for-all bins in the thrift store so the public can access it. We also have great relationships with our breakfast programs, daycares, and our congregate meal programs here in town, and we share out what we can from there as well. More than just food, the Salvation Army's food bank is more than just a place for patrons to get food. They are also in need of donations such as pet food, shampoo and conditioner, non-scented body lotion, paper towels, toilet paper, diapers, size 4, 5, 6, and pull-ups for toddlers, as well as toothpaste and toothbrushes. Nightingale noted that this is not just a Neepawa trend. Food needs are increasing, and food insecurity is a national crisis. What we're seeing here in Neepawa is replicated across the country. When you hear about what's going on in food banks in Toronto or BC, we're seeing the same things here, but sort of on a smaller scale. The amount of unemployment that's out there, the cost of living increases, those things are directly affecting people here in our community, she said. We see new people every single month that come and see us. And right in the center by Ken Waddell, oppression is rampant. As a background for this column, the following information was found on the website indigenousfoundations.arts.ubc.ca. In 1969, Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau and his Minister of Indian Affairs, Jean Chrétien, unveiled a policy paper that proposed ending the special legal relationship between Aboriginal people and the Canadian state and dismantling the Indian Act. This white paper was met with forceful opposition from Aboriginal leaders across the country and sparked a new area of Indigenous political organizing in Canada. The white paper proposed to eliminate Indian status, dissolve the Department of Indian Affairs within 5 years, abolish the Indian Act, convert reserve land to private property that can be sold by the band or its members, transfer responsibility for Indian affairs from the federal government to the province, and integrate those services into those provided to other Canadian citizens, provide funding for economic development, appoint a commissioner to address outstanding land claims, and gradually terminate existing treaties. The white paper was hotly debated at the time and continues to be debated to this day. Harold Cardinal, who headed the Indian Association of Alberta and acted as a vocal opponent to the white paper, was quoted as saying, "We do not want the Indian Act retained because it is a good piece of legislation. It isn't. It's discriminatory from start to finish. But it is a lever in our hands and an embarrassment to the government, as it should be. No just society, and no society with even pretensions of being just, can long tolerate such a piece of legislation. But we would rather continue to live in bondage under the inequitable Indian Act than surrender our sacred rights. Anytime the government wants to honor its obligations to us, we are more than happy to help devise new Indian legislation." I think that the words above from Harold Cardinal lays condemnation on the Indian Act, and so it should. Countless Indigenous leaders have spoken out against the Indian Act, and rightly so. Cardinal lays out a self-condemnation when he states, "We would rather continue to live in bondage under the inequitable Indian Act than surrender our sacred rights." I think that live in bondage statement speaks volumes. When people refuse to change for fear of perceived loss, their loss is even greater. Under the Indian Act, it's difficult for people to own property on the reserve. Under the Indian Act, it seems that there is a constant turmoil in many Indigenous communities. There is also perception that Indigenous people get everything for free, but that isn't true. They don't. But in Canada, it's hard to tell who gets stuff for free. Electric car buyers get a government grant. Car manufacturers get promised billions in subsidies for battery factories. Many businesses get government subsidies. We, all of us, Indigenous and non-Indigenous Canadians, labor under acts like the Indian Act. That's because, for centuries in Canada, powerful people truly believe that they know better than the average citizen. In Manitoba, first it was the Hudson Bay Company, then the federal government, then the CPR. When Manitoba became a province, it was a typical federal botched process. They didn't tell the citizens of Manitoba it was going to happen until the surveyors arrived. Through most of the 1900s, it was the Liberal Party of Canada, and it's still the Liberal Party and the Laurentian elite that dominate Canada with a smug, holier-than-thou attitude. Canada is a great country, but I think the future of all Canadians could be a lot better if there was a more realistic thinking and common sense applied. Indigenous people choose to stay under the oppression of the Indian Act, but we are all under the smothering blanket of the Laurentian elite. What's your opinion? Please email me at kwaddell@neepawabanner.com. And the usual disclaimer, the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the views of the newspaper staff. And we move on to Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. And just like that, again. The passage of time is a mystery. With one breath it is spring, then summer, and with an exhale, it's fall. The school schedule no longer affects me, no back-to-school supplies, no planning for lunches or budgeting for the programs. As an onlooker, it was but that blink when school was dismissed for holidays, and now it's back to school time. The garden I so carefully planted and tended has now been mostly harvested. Some trees are already slipping into fall fashion colors, and the weeds and rushes in the ditches proclaim fall as well. And that's okay. The September long weekend was filled with family, laughter, games, and travel. The celebrations actually began before the weekend arrived. Sister the Elder from Australia is in Canada, and that guarantees reunions on the paternal side of the family. 7 first cousins, 2 treasured aunties, and several spouses gathered for a luncheon. So much laughter, sometimes over a story that has been told and retold. One aunt is 94, the other a mere 89. We acknowledge that meaningful dialogue can be challenging in a group setting, so just a few days later, my sister and I visited Aunt the Elder in her home. She played the piano for us, one piece of classic that she is memorizing and would love to have it critiqued by a master musician. The other, played by ear, was a hymn from ages past. I know whom I have believed. A simple, awesome time together. From there, traveling with my sister, we bunked at Sister the Younger's home where she was hosting more family. The cribbage board was well used, and I proved that I could be a gracious loser 4 consecutive times. My nephew, also from Australia, maintained that his win title while in Manitoba was somewhat lackluster, improved his ratings in one afternoon. One of the reasons for gatherings was a family wedding. Here I watched, interacted with, and made memories with a bunch of nieces and nephews, watched them parent their children, respect their parents, love, laugh, and play. Watching people is one of my favorite pastimes, and I was satisfied. Between young children and older parents, there were not many late nights, so I had time to read and reflect before courting that elusive sleep. I did step away from the clan to have breakfast with the last of the Friesens. Ed's brother is now mid-90s, lives quite independently, and loves company. We enjoyed breakfast at the local Tim's, meeting more old friends and acquaintances. Spending time with both my brother-in-law and my aunt reminded me that age is really a number. Sunday morning, we slipped into worship service at the Carmen United Church, with the service led by the local Anglican congregation. It felt like home. No familiar faces, but I felt welcome. I would be deceitful if I didn't confess to love coming home. The drive back with CBC and classical music allowed me to shift gears, slow down, and ready myself for more silence and solitude. I love my home, I love my community, and I love my purpose. Back to regular programming. And Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. Lessons Learned in Public School. It was September 1968, and I was stepping through the doors of my hometown's high school, ready to begin my grade 12 year. I was excited because I knew that in 10 months I would walk out the doors for the last time and be glad to be doing so. I attended a K-12 school located in a small rural Alberta town. Our grade 12 class had roughly 45 students, most of whom were farm kids. Our school offered 2 academic programs, one for students planning to attend university, the other for those who were interested in apprenticeships or planning to attend technical or trade school. It was a bare bones curriculum, but it was all that a small town school in a small town could offer. I was a good student and I got good grades on assignments and exams, but the most valuable lessons I learned weren't in part of the provincial curriculum. I will never forget the day when one teacher and his wife shared the trauma they went through when, shortly after their wedding, she had to have emergency surgery, and how they used that experience to build the strong relationship that we all envied. Nor will I forget the day when another teacher spoke about love, dating, intimacy, and how one night of intimacy can produce one unexpected pregnancy that disrupts the lives of the couple involved, their parents, and the whole community. These were the days before family life, sex education was part of the public school curriculum. The best advice he could offer was, be careful, let relationships develop at their own pace, and don't get intimate with someone unless you're prepared to accept and live with the possible consequences of your actions. It was good advice then, it's good advice today. We had to learn to accept and respect people who didn't deserve our respect. One of our teachers let it be known that he didn't really want to be at our school. He called us village idiots and didn't seem to care how deeply his words hurt. By learning to respect him, we learned how to deal with the bosses, supervisors, and employers who one day might treat us in the same way. It was a hard lesson to learn, but a necessary one. Then there were the times when if I had known what I know now, I would have shown more compassion than I did. 2 of my teachers were battling severe health issues that no one, not even they, knew about. Both died shortly after they left our school. I wish I had known the pain they were enduring and the toll it was taking on their mental and emotional health. I might have been a more caring and considerate than I was. I will always treasure the lessons I learned during my time in public school. I have the deepest admiration for those who teach and administer our local schools. They have been, are now, and will always be in my thoughts and prayers. I firmly believe in the value of public schools and that they should receive the funding they need to help us prepare a generation of leaders who will build an even better Canada. But I won't be returning to take public school classes anytime soon. I wholeheartedly agree with the late John D. Rockefeller, who, when asked for his views on American public school system, I am all for public schools, but I do not want to go there again. And once again, the Neepawa RCMP need aid identifying suspects of an attempted theft. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police of Manitoba released details on September 3rd regarding an attempted theft in Neepawa. The incident occurred on July 3rd at the Neepawa Safeway. An adult male and an adult female entered the store and loaded a cart with groceries totaling a worth of $560. The two individuals then attempted to leave the store without paying for the items. The RCMP state that staff confronted the suspects and were able to retrieve the grocery cart. However, both suspects fled the scene prior to the arrival of the police. At the time of the incident, both suspects appear to have been wearing glasses. The male appears to have been wearing a red shirt and hat. The female was wearing dark clothing and appears to have a cast on her hand or forearm. The Spruce Plains RCMP at Neepawa are calling on the public's assistance in identifying the suspects. Anyone who has information is asked to contact the Neepawa RCMP at 204-476-7340. Information can also be given anonymously via Crime Stoppers by calling 1-800-222-8477 or by securely submitting a tip to them online via the Crime Stoppers website, www.manitobacrimestoppers.com. And letters. This one is from Robert Smith and Edrins. Wellwood for a new admit meeting. The page 8 article of the August 22nd edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. New admit building planned for North Cypress Langford. Yes, there is a need. Why not Wellwood, as it is centrally located north-south and east-west? Locating the new administration office in Wellwood has many positives and few negatives in our modern wireless communication era. Since the formation of the rural municipality of North Cypress Langford in January 2015, they had doubled the area served. Wellwood is surrounded by some of the most productive land in the west central Manitoba. Also, it is centrally located between the workshops east of Carberry and east of Neepawa. So tell me, why not Wellwood? And thumbs up, thumbs down, a big thumbs up to the powers that control our weather. As farmers, we make a lot of decisions, but without adequate rain, yields decline. In 2025, many areas have reported good yields, and thanks to the good Lord providing a week of sunny, hot harvest weather. Hundreds of thousands of dry bushels are safely stored in the grain bins. And again from Robert Smith of Edrins. And the Terry Fox Run to be held in Neepawa. And pictured is a scene from the 2024 Terry Fox Run in Neepawa. Cancer survivors, their families, friends, and other loved ones participated. Long after his passing, his inspiration and charitable legacy continues. This year marks the 45th anniversary of Terry Fox Marathon of Hope. The Cross Canada Marathon began in April of 1980, raising awareness and funds for cancer research. His marathon ended prematurely on September 2nd in 1980, just outside Thunder Bay, due to the resurgence of cancer in his body. According to information from the Old Canada series, schools and communities across the country have raised close to $1 billion in support of the Terry Fox Foundation via marathons held in Fox's honor. Neepawa is one of the many communities that participates in this initiative each and every year. Next weekend, on September 14th, that tradition continues. All members of the public are invited to the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute track to participate. Registration will begin at 1:30 p.m. and the run will commence at 2 p.m. And Manitoba's Auditor General releases report highlights Westlake Gladstone by Joshua Jackson. Manitoba's Governor General has released a report on 6 Manitoba municipalities, including the RM of Westlake Gladstone. The report was commissioned by the province to investigate allegations of wrongdoing involving several Manitoba municipalities, as well as the provincial government's oversight of municipal operations. The report highlighted the municipality of Westlake Gladstone's cybersecurity incident. Between December 2019 and January 2020, where unauthorized withdrawals of over $472,000 were made from an account held by the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. According to the report, the Auditor General concluded that the municipality failed to investigate the cybersecurity incident to determine its root cause, missing an opportunity to understand how the incident occurred and how to prevent future breaches. The report outlined that a key step in responding to the cybersecurity incident is prompt investigation. As time passed, the incident became more challenging to investigate. System event logs, which serve as a key resource in investigations, can only be retained for a limited period. The report recommended that all municipalities implement at a minimum the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity's baseline cybersecurity controls, where they are not already in place, and that the Department of Municipal and Northern Relations should add oversight processes to monitor compliance with these controls. The report also investigated 6 allegations involving the municipalities of Swan Valley, West St. Andrews, West St. Paul, Lorne, Ethelbert, and Springfield. Investigations ranged from purchasing a fire truck without tendering to claiming ineligible expenses on their spending reports. 3 of the 6 allegations had some of the concerns substantiated. The report assessed whether the Department of Municipal and Northern Relations provides sufficient oversight in addressing complaints against municipalities. The Municipal and Northern Relations handed recommendations, including implementing a risk-based approach to oversight of grants to municipalities, adding a defined process when non-compliance is noted, and developing a comprehensive risk-based process that details what should be done to ensure completeness of the financial documents received, what variance analysis should be performed, and what red flags should be examined. The audit was conducted between January 2023 and February 2024 and reviewed various allegations dating back as far as 5 years. And the Neepawa Area Health Auxiliary is looking forward to a busy fall. And pictured earlier this year, members of the Neepawa Area Health Auxiliary accepted a grant for $7,000 from the Big Grass Community Foundation. The 2024-25 activity year for the Neepawa Area Health Auxiliary, NAHA, wrapped up in June, and we felt that we had another very successful year in our ability to fund a total of $24,833.33 worth of needs for the health center, $5,311.13, the personal care home, $9,332.71, the community programs, $887.95, the Beautiful Plains Clinic Residency Program, $8,301.54, and for an NACI scholarship of $1,000. June was the last of the regular meetings, giving the ladies the summer to relax before the busy fall started. One final highlight for the auxiliary in June was the receiving of a $7,000 grant from the Big Grass Community Foundation and the Thomas Silf Foundation out of Gladstone. The money is earmarked to furnish the family wellness room at the new hospital. Beginning early in September, you will see some of the ladies selling raffle tickets at the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op grocery store and the Giant Tiger store. September 9th is our first regular meeting once again, and we were blessed with the presentations from Debbie Poole, PMH representative for the new hospital, giving us an update on the status of the new hospital, as well as Marcia Forgue, PMHA regional volunteer coordinator, telling us about some volunteering opportunities at the facilities. Then, on September 16th, you will see some of our ladies helping out at the Neepawa Gladstone Gas Bar, as we are the recipients of the proceeds from the Fuel Good Days this year. Fill your car up with gas and we will benefit. The proceeds will be put towards the gift shop the auxiliary will have in the new facility, purchasing inventory to start up, as well as shelving needed. Then, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., you can enjoy barbecued pork on a bun supplied by High Life Foods. Also helping us out that day will be Gary Forgue from Blackstone Grills. In October, the ladies will begin the business canvas again to businesses in the town of Neepawa, the RMs of North Cypress Langford, Rosedale, and Glenetta Lansdowne. Also in October, there will be an educational session for the community on dementia and on age-friendly communities. Stay tuned for more information on when and where this will take place. To wrap up the month of October, the auxiliary likes to give back to the community by hosting a coffee tea party on October 29th, when the draw of the raffle tickets will be made. And McGregor Fall Festival, September 13th, 2025. Excitement coming to downtown McGregor. Community preparing to host 4th Annual Fall Fest. And pictured are some scenes from the 2024 edition of the McGregor Fall Fest, which included bouncy castles, a car show, and more. As the festival committee gears up for the 2025 event, prospective attendees can anticipate plenty of family fun for the 2025 edition. This is by Ken Waddell. The McGregor Fall Fest is back for its 4th year on September 13th. For the second time, it will be a downtown event, and McGregor Chamber of Commerce President Rose Dondo said in an interview with the Neepawa Banner and Press, "I am really excited to see Fall Fest downtown for the second year. We have a few more vendors. In addition to the usual food booths and bouncy castles, we have some new activities this year. I think minor hockey will have a shootout." Dondo said that everyone is looking forward to the bands, including Hicktown. The McGregor Fall Fest will be held at the junction of Hampton and Victoria Street and runs from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., with the evening ending off with fireworks. And we move on to sports. An impressive day in Neepawa. Brandon's Colby Day wins 2025 NGCC Rose Bowl Tournament by Owen Devereaux. And pictured is Colby Day of Brandon presented the Rose Bowl trophy from NGCC General Manager, CPGA Golf Pro, Landon Cameron on Monday, September 1st. And pictured down here, Ivan and Daisy Roulette of Sandy Bay will go down in history as the inaugural Rose Bowl two-man scramble champions. The power of persistence has paid off for Colby Day as he has finally etched his name upon the Neepawa Golf and Country Club's Rose Bowl trophy. The Brandon-based golfer, who over the last decade has competed at the highest caliber at every major golf event across western Manitoba, secured his win in Neepawa on Monday, September 1st. Day defeated 2019 champion Al Hart in the final run of the club's annual match play event. Colby has made it to the finals of the championship flight on 3 previous occasions, but was defeated each time. Day said this year's win was a combination of good fortune and learned lessons related to previous years. I was lucky enough that 6-time champion Mark Kirkowicz chose to play in the two-man scramble this year, but there's still a number of tough competitors out there, so I wasn't taking anything for granted. I think I played solid over the course of the weekend, and I'm happy to finally get the job done, said Day. Day added that a victory at the Rose Bowl felt like a tremendous personal accomplishment, as the tournament has been such a storied history on the western Manitoba golf scene. Neepawa Golf and Country Club manager and CPGA Golf Pro Landon Cameron congratulated Colby on the win, noting that he is a great player who has been close a few times before, so it was nice to see him earn his first. The two-man scramble. There was also a new element at the Golf Club Rose Bowl tournament, as this year saw the inclusion of a two-man scramble. Ivan and Daisy Roulette earned the honors as the inaugural Rose Bowl champions, defeating Mark and Derek Kirkowicz in the final. Cameron said the incorporation of the scramble added something special to this year's event. It was a very positive response. It's still competitive, golf just not as competitive, and I think it allows more guys to play, which was main reason for the change, said Cameron. Very happy about how the event rolled out. The weather cooperated and the golf course is in phenomenal shape. So all in all, it was a great weekend. And new faces and new places for Neepawa Titans training camp by Owen Devereaux. The MJHL club hosts camp at J&G Homes Arena in Brandon. Pictured above, associate coach Zach Hicks explains a play to the young prospects during a first session in the Neepawa Titans training camp on Friday, August 29th at the J&G Homes Arena, located in the city of Brandon's south side. While the surroundings off the ice may have looked different than they're accustomed to, the intensity on the ice looked all too familiar in a positive way at the Neepawa Titans training camp. This year's camp was held at the J&G Homes Arena in Brandon from August 29th to 31st. The change in venue is due to the ice still being prepped at the Yellowhead Center for what is expected to be a hectic winter schedule. Neepawa Titans head coach and general manager Ken Pearson noted that though there were some logistical challenges they had to deal with being in Brandon, the players themselves were just fine with how the weekend played out. It certainly isn't fun running camp on the road. Lots of things need to go right, from travel to and from Brandon to making sure equipment was all accounted for before and after to head back to Neepawa each day, stated Pearson. But the players really enjoyed being at the J&G Homes Arena. The facility itself is great, and the staff were more than accommodating to us. Special thanks to J&G Homes Arena, as well as Brandon's Source for Sports, the training camp sponsor, for doing everything they could to assist with the weekend. In terms of the competitiveness and skill seen on the ice, Pearson noted that you could see some nervousness and sloppy hockey out there during the early part of camp. That, however, is to be expected with so many new players looking to make an impression. As the weekend progressed, Pearson added that the coaching staff could see these same players getting better and picking up their level of intensity. Heading into the exhibition schedule, Neepawa will play 6 games, including a pair of home games at J&G Homes Arena. The first of those was the annual Rookies game versus the Verdun Oil Capitals on Tuesday, September 2nd. In that contest, Neepawa won 5-2. The Titans will play one more in Brandon on Tuesday, September 9th against Dauphin, before returning to Neepawa to face the Portage Terriers on Saturday, September 13th. Pearson told the Banner and press that they will carry 30 to 32 players on the roster throughout the exhibition schedule. In regard to any position battles we should be paying attention to, he said there are a few opportunities available due to injury. I think all positions there will be some real good paddles, with K.C. Cockute out still off due to off-season surgery. 3 goalies will battle for 2 spots. Also, defenseman Dylan McCann won't play in preseason due to recovering from surgery, so that will create an opening for someone to grab hold of too. The regular season will begin for the Neepawa Titans on Saturday, September 20th, when the team hosts the Portage Terriers. Start time is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. at the Yellowhead Center. And Jude Carr plays for Manitoba at the Under-15 Baseball Nationals. It was quite a journey for Neepawa's Jude Carr to make it to the National Baseball Championship, both figuratively and literally. Carr was recently selected to play for the Team Manitoba in the National Under-15 Baseball Championship, which were held in Somerset, PEI from August 21st to 24. Unfortunately, Air Canada canceled the team flights the day prior to departure. To make a long journey short, Jude and his father Owen had to drive down to Fargo, North Dakota, then catch a flight to New York and onward to Bangor, Maine, where they eventually met up with the rest of his teammates and bused to Summerside. Once they arrived at its destination, Team Manitoba, Toba, finished first in their pool with 3 wins and 1 loss in the round robin. To begin, they defeated Nova Scotia 6-4. After that, they were beaten by Newfoundland and Labrador 6-4, before winning against Prince Edward Island 9-5 and New Brunswick 10-6. In the playoffs, British Columbia played Ontario and won 8-1. That meant that Manitoba faced BC in the semi-final game for a chance to play for gold. It was a slugfest, but unfortunately, Team Toba lost to BC 20-14. Our final game was the bronze medal game, which they also lost to Quebec. Ontario played BC in the final, where BC won gold. Ontario claimed silver, and Quebec took the bronze. Jude played center field for all the games. Team Toba can be very proud to say they placed 4th overall out of 10 provinces in the tournament. Special accolades go out to Team Toba's coach, their support staff, and the parents for making this happen. Congratulations to Team Toba. And 3 Blue Dolphins named top point getters. Joey Smith, J.C. Smith, and Ann Crossan captured the top points for their category for the season, outswimming the competition for the highest points. Crossan, in particular, never lost a race all season. Congratulations to all 3 for magnificent swim performance. Summer Swim 2025 High Point Awards. Small Club High Point Award, Treeherne Tiger Sharks, 4273 points. Large Club High Point Award, Winkler Barracudas, 8,037 points. Individual High Point Awards, Girls 8 and Under, Annalie Kuhn, 677 points from the Treeherne Tiger Sharks. Girls 9 to 10, Zola Harvey, 810 points for Swan Valley Rapids. Boys 9 and 10, Oscar Yakilsiak, 643 points, Swan Valley Rapids. Girls, 11 to 12, Ann Bowler, 763 points, Treeherne Tiger Sharks. Boys, 11 to 12, Joey Smith, 688 points, Neepawa Blue Dolphins. Girls, 13 to 14, Ann Crossan, 765 points, Neepawa Blue Dolphins. Boys, 13 to 14, J.C. Smith, 673 points, Neepawa Blue Dolphins. Girls, 15 and over, Jordan Clark, 748, Beausejour Otters. And boys 15 and over, Regin Godet, 548 points for Treeherne Tiger Sharks. Congratulations to all of them. And the Beautiful Plains Museum features Sinclair School by Casper Warehan. Pictured students of the Sinclair School. A date and names were not listed. What better time to revisit Beautiful Plains school history than back to school season? This week, readers are invited to peruse some of Sinclairville school history. The Sinclairville School was in what is now the municipality of Glenella Lansdowne. According to the Manitoba Historical Society, there were enough school children in the area in 1921 to warrant the establishment of school district. A one-room schoolhouse was built in the northwest-east corner of 321313 west of the principal meridian. And from September 1960 to June 1964, high school kids were driven by car to Edrin School by principal and teacher Mary Parrott. When high school grades were closed in June of 64, students were then driven by car to Arden School. In June of 1966, after 45 years of operation, Sinclairville School closed and the building demolished. Afterwards, students attended school at Arden and later Neepawa. And the first annual Kiwanis In Your Kitchen Pickleball Tournament. 2 local community groups are joining forces for Neepawa's first annual Kiwanis In Your Kitchen Pickleball Tournament. The tournament is slated for 10 a.m. on Saturday, September 20th at the Hillcrest Outdoor Courts. The rain date is Saturday, September 27th. The Kiwanis Club in Neepawa and area is always on the lookout for fundraising opportunities to support their mission of helping kids in and around the community. We know that pickleball is gaining popularity in Neepawa, and we thought partnering with the Neepawa Pickleball Association for a tournament would be a great way to have a community building event and raise funds for programs to benefit kids, said Club President Angie Weisgerber. Val Jarama, president of the Neepawa Pickleball Association, added that when the local Kiwanis Club approached us about putting on a fundraising tournament, we jumped at the opportunity. We're always looking for ways to get more people involved in pickleball. The day promises to be a fun one, with friendly competition and lunch available for purchase. The tournament invites all level of play with a beginner's flight and an intermediate flight. Beginning at 9 a.m., free lessons, tips, and pointers will be provided by the area's more experienced players. Balls will be provided and paddles are available for those who need to borrow one. The deadline for registration is September 14th. Register online through the Facebook pages for the Neepawa Pickleball Association or the Kiwanis Club of Neepawa and area. Questions? Email neepawapickleball@gmail.com or phone Marcia Forgue at 204-841-2051. And Beyond Colors by Banner staff. Neepawa's Arts Forward has officially welcomed its brand new exhibit for the month of September. Officially opened on September 2nd, the new exhibit, titled Beyond Colors, features the works of area artist Joyce Friesen. Friesen's art has been featured in juried art shows and traveling galleries and has earned her some awards. Friesen's works capture a variety of scenes full of action, movement, beauty, and depth. Pieces include a variety of subjects such as wildlife, landscapes, portraits, and flowers. Beyond Colors will remain on display at Arts Forward until September 26th. And the top picture, Chief Joseph by Joyce Friesen, and bottom, a portion of Joyce Friesen's Memories in the Glass. And progress being made on Neepawa's streets. The work continues on several roads across Neepawa, including Mill Street, portions of Mountain Avenue and 2nd Avenue. On Tuesday, September 2nd, crews were out filling the excavated portions of Mill Street with fresh dirt above. Below, a view of one side of the 2nd Avenue sections where fresh dirt was being brought in on Wednesday, September 3rd to level the street in preparation for repaving. And we move on to the Farmer's Advocate. this week, a whole section. And the front cover story is a unpopular one in Canada. Canola tariffs cause a stir among Manitoba farmers. Chinese tariffs on Canadian canola is casting a shadow of uncertainty for producers. Canola is a key driver of the Canadian economy, as in 2024, Canada exported 8,659,296 metric tons. By Joshua Jackson. As harvest across the prairies begins to ramp up, a bombshell move by the Chinese government has thrown uncertainty into Manitoba's harvest season, as China recently announced preliminary anti-dumping duties on canola seed from Canada. China imposed a preliminary anti-dumping duty on imports of canola seed from Canada of 75.8%, which came into effect on August 14th. According to the World Trade Organization, dumping is a situation of international price discrimination where the price of a product when sold in the importing country is less than the price of the product in the market of the exporting company. The timing couldn't be worse. The Manitoba Canola Growers Association, MCGA, is committed to driving success for Manitoba canola farmers and represents approximately 7,500 members throughout the province. They said the timing of this decision couldn't be worse. We, right around harvest time, and farmers have already invested heavily in growing this crop. With China, our second largest canola seed market, effectively closed overnight, producers face fewer selling options, lower prices, and a wave of uncertainty. This is a severe financial hit at a time when input costs are high, markets are volatile, and weather is unpredictable, said the association. Canola is a key driver in Manitoba's economy. According to Statistics Canada in 2024, Canada exported 8,659,296 metric tons of canola seed. Of the 8,659,296 metric tons, 5,863,794 metric tons, or rather 67%, was exported to China. The next top export markets were Japan with 1,005,098 metric tons, Mexico with 599,688,000 metric tons, and the European Union with 491,369 metric tons. According to the MCGA, canola is not just a farm commodity, it's a key driver of Manitoba's rural economy. The canola sector supports every step along the path that gets our food from field to table. Food processing jobs, transportation, equipment sales, and a range of local services. A $4.9 billion annual export market disappearing will ripple through the value chain, affecting rural businesses and communities across the province, they said. We are working directly with policymakers alongside the Canola Council of Canada and the Canadian Canola Growers Association to ensure they understand the scope of this impact, both in immediate farm losses and in the long-term erosion of economic stability in rural Manitoba. The Prairie provinces also saw a decline in canola being planted. A June 2025 Statistics Canada report, which collects information on field crop seeded areas in Canada, was conducted from May 15th to June 12th, 2025, including approximately 25,000 farmers reported planting 21.5 million acres of canola, down 2.5% from the previous year. In Saskatchewan, where more than half of Canada's canola is grown, farmers reported planting 12 million acres of canola, down 0.5% from 2024. Alberta reported planting 6.2 million acres of canola in 2025, down 2.8% from the previous year, while Manitoba farmers reported seeding 3 million acres of canola, which is a 9.2% decrease from 2024. The new tariff will have an immediate and substantive impact on farmers' marketing opportunities for the 2025 canola crop. The MCGA talked about the long-term strategies they are developing to mitigate reliance on the Chinese market and to find new, stable markets for Manitoba's canola. The canola sector has long been focused on diversifying markets for canola, with recent progress on new uses like renewable diesel fuel that have potential for a reliable and stable domestic market. Over-reliance on any one market is a risk MCGA is committed to mitigating, but replacing a major market like China is not realistically done in the near term, they said. Our top priority continues to be reopening the market in China, while we continue to expand access to other high-potential markets, strengthening relationships in existing ones, and build Canada's domestic processing capacity. Previous to the August tariffs announced by China, they also placed a 100% tariff on Canadian canola oil and canola meal, along with several other tariffs on other Canadian agricultural commodities as of March 2025, in response to its anti-discrimination investigation initiated in 2024 as a result of the federal government's imposition of tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, steel, and aluminum. With these tariffs in place, MCGA said that the Chinese market is effectively closed across all canola products. This means less demand overall, downward pressure on prices, and reduced competition for our crop, directly squeezing farm revenue and limiting marketing flexibility. The cash flow impacts will be felt almost immediately, especially for farmers counting on Chinese sales to manage harvest season bills. The MCGA is advocating for urgent federal action on two fronts. 1. Market access. Immediate and decisive engagement with Chinese counterparts to reopen the canola seed market. 2. Farmer support. Emergency programs developed in collaboration with farmers that help them weather this income shock and maintain operations until market access is restored. Compensation details are expected to reflect the specific damage experienced by canola farmers and the sector. The priority is timely, effective action that helps farmers bridge this sudden market loss. According to the MCGA, this issue reaches far beyond the farm gate. Canola is the backbone of a value chain that supports thousands of jobs in food and fuel processing plants, transportation companies, input suppliers, and export logistics, many of which are based in small towns, regional hubs, and large cities. When farm incomes drop, the effects cascade. Processors handle less product, transport companies move fewer goods, and local businesses see less spending. That loss of economic activities hits rural communities first, but it quickly ripples into urban centers as well, they said. We encourage all Manitobans to stand with farmers by supporting urgent government action to restore market access, recognizing that protecting our canola industry is about safeguarding jobs, communities, and economic stability across the province. And Statistics Canada reporting approximately 25,000 farmers reported planting 21.5 million acres of canola, down 2.5% from the previous year. Pictured is a field of canola, and at the bottom, a farmer east of Neepawa sows canola. Manitoba farmers reported seeding 3 million acres canola, which is a 9.2% decrease from 2024. And a salute to National Trucking Week. It's the farmers who feed us all, but it's the truckers who deliver the food. And greetings from the Manitoba Trucking Association. Pauline Weeb, President, Manitoba Trucking Association, Vice President, Finance and Administration, Payne Transportation Limited. Happy National Trucking Week from the Manitoba Trucking Association. This week is an opportunity to recognize the critical economic and social contributions of our industry, not just in Manitoba, but across Canada and North America. Thanks to the dedication of members of the trucking industry, Manitobans can count on stocked grocery shelves, life-saving medical equipment, and safe treated water. From keeping supply chains flowing to maintaining critical services, their contributions make a difference every single day. That's something everyone in Manitoba's trucking industry can take pride in. I know I do. Whatever the role, behind the wheel, in the shop, in logistics, or administration, Manitoba's trucking industry is integral to the quality of life we enjoy across this province and beyond. This past year has been one of meaningful progress. From workplace and road safety improvements and infrastructure investments, we are proud to be part of building a safe, competitive, and sustainable trucking sector. We continue to advocate for essentials like driver rest areas, better winter road maintenance, and the elimination of labor trafficking and immigration abuse in Manitoba, a practice that undermines the safe, efficient, and fair work being done by many carriers. 2025 has certainly brought with it new challenges for Manitoba's trucking industry, but it has also brought opportunities as new markets are sought for Canadian goods. We must face these challenges head first, but we don't have to face them alone. Our advocacy, education, and partnerships across all levels of government and industry are driven by one goal: a strong, respected, and globally competitive trucking industry for Manitoba. Whether you're a long-time member or considering joining us, now is the time to be part of this momentum. On behalf of the Manitoba Trucking Association, thank you, and happy National Trucking Week. And honoring Manitoba's backbone, Jody Byram, Member of Legislative Assembly, Electoral District of Agassiz. Residing in the core of southwest Manitoba, where the sound of diesel engines and the sight of semis rolling down the provincial highways are as familiar as prairie sunsets, Trucker Appreciation Week, September 7th to 13th, is more than a calendar note. It's a moment to recognize the lifeblood of our province's economy and the unsung heroes behind the wheel. Manitoba has long punched above its weight in Canada's trucking industry. In 2024, the transportation and warehousing sector employed 49,300 Manitobans, accounting for 6.8% of the province's total employment. Of these, 18,400 worked in truck transportation, making it the largest subsector. And with 15,400 truck drivers on the road as of late 2022, it's clear that Manitoba isn't just a participant, it's a leader. The economic impact is equally impressive. In 2023, the Manitoba Transportation and Warehousing Industry, MTWI, contributed $4.436 billion to the province's GDP, representing 9.4% of Manitoba's business sector GDP. That's not just freight, it's food on shelves, fuel in tanks, and livelihoods sustained across every corner of the province. Living in southwest Manitoba, we see firsthand how trucking connects our communities to the rest of Canada and beyond. Whether it's hauling grain from local elevators or delivering goods to Winnipeg's distribution hubs, our region plays a vital role in the national supply chain. Winnipeg itself, located near the geographic center of Canada and North America, is a strategic powerhouse. Just 112 kilometers from the U.S. border, it offers access to 100 million people within a 24-hour drive. At the heart of this logistical advantage is Centreport Canada, a 20,000-acre inland port and foreign trade zone that's transforming Manitoba's trucking landscape. With direct access to truck, rail, and air cargo, Centreport is attracting major investments, including a $16 million expansion by highway motor freight, which will create 150 new jobs and increase its fleet to over 800 units. This isn't just growth, it's a signal that Manitoba is poised to lead the next chapter of Canadian freight. Behind every statistic is a story. It's the story of drivers who brave icy highways, warehouse workers who keep goods moving, and logistics teams who orchestrate the flow of commerce. It's the story of many families in Agassiz and across our province who rely on this industry, not just for income, but for connection. So this Truckers Appreciation Week, let's do more than wave at passing rig. Let's honor the grit, skill, and dedication of Manitoba's trucking community, because then when they roll, Manitoba rolls, and Canada follows. And Neepawa is home to a million-mile man, Rob Penner of Neepawa. Neepawa's Rob Penner recently drove past a major milestone when it comes to transportation. Penner, who drives through LPR, a transportation operation owned by High Life, was one of 6 drivers who recently joined the Million Miles of Safe Driving Club. The other drivers to reach this landmark accomplishment include Andy Donaghy, 3 million miles, LPR Morris, Manitoba; William Ted Wakna, 2 million miles, LPR Morris, Manitoba; Mike Shawla, 2 million miles, High Life, Randolph, Manitoba; Jeff Doughty, 1 million miles, LPR Morris, Manitoba; Jeff Rempel, 1 million miles, High Life, Randolph, Manitoba. These half-dozen dedicated drivers drove a collective 10 million miles safely, according to the High Life media release acknowledging the numbers. That amount of miles is equivalent of circling the Earth more than 400 times, or traveling to the moon and back 4 times. For Penner, the million-mile accolade was something that he knew he was close to, but it wasn't something that he was specifically focused on. It's very nice to be acknowledged. I knew it was coming soon, as some others have achieved this milestone before, but it was very nice to hear I did too. As part of reaching this historic distance, each of the 6 drivers have now been inducted into the Million Mile Club, with their names placed on a special wall at High Life's head office in Steinbach. This tribute will serve as a lasting honor to their incredible achievements. It takes a special kind of person to drive, someone with grit, patience, and an unwavering sense of responsibility, said Sergei Yaklinsky, manager of driver services. The High Life Million Mile Club is our way of saying thank you to the drivers who's literally gone the distance both safely and consistently. High Life employs more than 2,600 people and exports to over 20 countries. And let's go back to here. From the outback to the prairies, Australian farmers talk agriculture with Canadians on cross-country tour. A group of 30 Australian agricultural producers embarked on a cross-country trek in Canada, learning about Canadian agricultural practices and visiting different farms. The trip started in BC and ended in Alberta. It was a cultural exchange of sorts at Melody Acres Beef Farm near Bradwardine, Manitoba, as Connor English and family welcomed a group of 30 Australian agricultural producers to their farm. It was all a part of a cross-country trip for Aussie farmers to learn more about Canadian agriculture and soak in how Canadians do farming. From Brisbane to Brandwardine. By day, Australian citizen Graham Rees teaches about low-stress stockmanship and marketing at KLR Marketing, which he helped create. As a hobby, Rees enjoys connecting with the other ranches around the world to learn about how they farm cattle and what practices he could be using. In the past, he's run 2 trips in the USA and 1 to New Zealand. This is our very first trip to Canada. We're here for 3 weeks. We're here for 3 weeks traveling in cars so we can get more access to the ranches. We started in Vancouver and we're all the way out here to Manitoba. He said at the time they weren't quite halfway done their trip. We'll finish up in Calgary. The quest we're on is to find the best ranches that are using regenerative practices. The group of farmers began their 3-week journey in British Columbia before making their way through Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. The group has a diverse age range and is represented by someone from every decade. We have a 3-year-old in the group, we have teenagers, quite a few young people. We've got a gentleman and her wife who are in their 70s, nearly 80s, he said, adding that he was conversing with him, asking why he wanted to be on this trip. He said, "I'm still trying to figure this out. It's not only what we have learned from other ranchers. When you put these people in a car to travel across Canada together, there's a whole lot of sharing and mentoring between the generations." Cam Benjamin is a farmer from Queensland, Australia. He was a member of the group that came to tour Canadian farms. Benjamin talked about what stood out to him and why he wanted to participate in this tour. We're looking at different grazing program systems. We're looking at multi-species cropping, which we don't do much of at home, but we hear a lot about, said the farmer. We've read about the different styles of grazing and the different leasehold lands and all that sort of stuff. We're learning lots of stuff that we might be able to incorporate back home. We've met some awesome Canadians. Benjamin farms in southwest Queensland at the border of the outback. Each year we have about 20 inches of rainfall. It's pretty good wheat farming country. We personally run cattle and grow forage crops. We background steers and run breeder units, he said. Benjamin is excited to take some of what he's learned in Canada and apply it to his own farm, such as introducing some multi-species in a relatively small area in a paddock he owns back home. Benjamin noted that although there are similarities between farms in Australia and Canada, there are some key differences. The 2 biggest differences in this part of the world are the snowfall, Canadians spending the whole winter preparing for summer, and also those dry lands that we saw in southern BC, with their dry areas and have their small numbers in the regulated grazing on those leasehold lands. It's quite different. Benjamin said he's had a great time and thoroughly enjoyed his time in Canada. We're having a wonderful time, he said. You get to know the people in the group, and they're all like-minded people. We've met some awesome Canadians. I've actually spent time over here as a young bloke, so I know it a wee bit. It's been wonderful. Around mid-morning, a convoy of vehicles rolled into the Melody Acres Beef Farm on the outskirts of Bradwardine. Connor English is proud to be a 5th-generation producer on the family farm, who's transitioned to cattle after being mainly a livestock and grain operation in the past. About 85% of our farm right now would be in perennial pasture production, and the remaining acres are annual acres that we're utilizing for seed sources. English proudly showed off his farm to the Australians, which uses methods such as cover crops, like corn. Over the past couple of years, English has transitioned to a May-June calving cow herd and is retaining calves through the winter. English is also a firm believer in the local grazing method and uses it on his farm. With this method, English said that he moves his cattle frequently, usually daily, gives cows a huge new chunk of grass, and puts an emphasis on the recovery of grazed acres. My two main goals are to build most resilient system possible, so we're not reliant on timely rains. We can take significant amount of rains when they do come, and, most importantly, being as profitable as we can and in the future. So being ready to change operations, whether that be on the class animal that we're looking after or the way that we're utilizing of some acres, just to put ourselves in a good position in today's day and age. The Englishes are no strangers to opening up their farm, having hosted about 150 on their farm already this year, as well as hosting a farm tour in July for the second year in a row. He said it was special to be able to welcome a group like this and to be able to host them and showcase what they're doing in our operation. It was cool to see how eager these folks were to learn and to try and pick up a few things that our operation does to bring home to their operations, said the farmer. These Australian grazers were very cool, as they've just on a journey to learn and to take away different practices that are happening on a completely different part of the world. It's all beneficial to learn from others. There's a lot of commonality between us, even though they're in Australia and we're in Manitoba. And pictured from checking out the cattle grazing in the pasture to looking at mixed seed grazing crops to touring alfalfa fields, there was something for everyone to see at Melody Acres Beef Farm. The tour wrapped up with a lunch served by a local community centre before the Australians toured their next farm of the day. Now let's see what else we got in here. Fueling the future. Gladstone Airport looks to the community to fund critical upgrades. The Gladstone Flying Club has spent decades maintaining the Gladstone Municipal Airport, which features 2 runways, 1 grass and 1 asphalt, hangars, a maintenance shop, and a clubhouse. The group has set up a day full of activities on September 6 as it continues to raise money to upgrade the Gladstone Municipal Airport, by Joshua Jackson. A group of local Gladstone citizens are trying to breathe new life into the Gladstone Municipal Airport. The Gladstone Flying Club has spent decades maintaining the Gladstone Municipal Airport, which features 2 runways, 1 grass and 1 asphalt, hangars, a maintenance shop, and a clubhouse. Excuse me. The group has set up a day full of activities on September 6, 2025, as it continues to raise money to upgrade the Gladstone Municipal Airport. Gladstone Flying Club President Jerry Peters said the Gladstone Municipal Airport will come alive with a barbecue, car show, and a chance for you to take to the skies and see a World War II plane. The car show will run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be selling hamburgers and hot dogs. That will run basically all day, and we will be offering rides in a Cessna airplane from 10 a.m. until dusk, depending on the volume of people here, he said. And the World War II training plane used by the Royal Canadian Air Force, the Tiger Moth, will be coming in for people to look at, and they will also be selling ticket rides on it. According to the book Beyond the Third Crossing, before the airport became an airport, it was a homestead located on a quarter of land owned by various families. After the last owner had passed away, the land became the property of avid aviation enthusiast George Galloway and his family. He erected several runways and a hangar to fly airplanes from, and soon several of his friends would join him. In 1974, Secretary-Treasurer of the Gladstone Flying Club, Darrell Tykrib's dad and John Tykrib returned to where they grew up and built a maintenance shop and started an aerial spraying business. The airport was acquired by the municipality of Westburn in 1974. After the municipality bought it, the runways were redone with municipal equipment and a few more hangars were put up. There was also a flying school here from 1976 to 1983. Over 100 students gained their pilot's license, he said. Since then, the airport has continued with the Flying Club and the municipality working together to maintain it. The airport runway was paved in 1988 because they got a federal grant. The Gladstone Municipal Airport has had its share of eager learners who have gone on to be pilots, which Peters noticed is something that he's proud of. Not too many young people are involved in aviation like they used to be. I've had young people who now have flying careers because they got into an airplane at this airport 25 years ago, he said. I think it's neat that I had a little part in directing someone towards an aviation career. The Gladstone Flying Club itself was founded in 1976 with a board of around 50 members. Those members have since drastically declined, but a small yet dedicated group continues to fly the group on. We're promoting aviation, people who have like-minded hobbies and interests meeting together. We promote maintaining the airport and encouraging one another to go out for flying trips together, said Tykrib, noting that in recent years there have not been many active flyers. The flying club hosts non-flyers who enjoy the fellowship, like to take a ride on occasion, and put their shoulder to the wheel in helping to maintain the airport. If we lose this facility, we won't get it back. Excuse me, it's too much money to try to beg for a new facility and build a new airstrip. We're doing our best to maintain this so future generations can keep using this airport and enjoying it, he said. Peters is one of the members who does not have a pilot's license, but said he is happy to help out and be an active part of the club. I enjoy hanging out with the pilots and ex-pilots. We gather together for coffee and a visit and tagging along with some airplane rides, said the president of the club. It's good to see this airport in the area being well used still. So I volunteer help with mowing the grass runways, maintenance on our clubhouse, and with maintaining the lights so we can keep this facility in the area. The Gladstone Municipal Airport serves as a local hub for many spray planes and local aviation enthusiasts. We have planes that arrive from different training schools, and they're doing cross-country flights. They come here to practice landings and takeoffs. We have planes that go cross-country and stop here to rest and buy fuel, he said. We had a STARS air ambulance land here to transfers, and we've had medical flights. We also had planes come up north land here, as well as a few emergency landings in our airstrip. In summer months, more than an average of 22 flights per week take off from the Gladstone Municipal Airport. That number dwindles in the winter, but there are still weekly takeoffs from the runway. Although the Gladstone Flying Club have been applying for grants to raise money, they are hoping for the public to step up and help keep the Gladstone Municipal Airport in operating condition. It has been several years since the airport was paved. We are developing bigger cracks in the runway, and to maintain it, we've applied for grants. We got a $5,000 grant this year from the Big Grass Community Foundation to aid in crack repair on the runway, alongside $18,000 from the Westlake Gladstone Municipality. Peters estimates that a total resurfacing and upgrade of the runway would cost upwards of $300,000. Recently, the airport had Superior Asphalt come to repair the cracks on the runway to extend its life. The airport received a separate grant from the Big Grass Community Foundation last year to help upgrade its aging airport lights. The Flying Club is also hoping to purchase airport lights from the Verdun Airport, as they will be upgrading to an LED light system. It would be nice to get the runway repaved in the next 5 to 10 years because of the age of the asphalt. That's why we've been fundraising and looking for corporate sponsorship to help out. In the meantime, we're holding our own fundraising. We just raffled off 2 rides on a World War II training plane, the Tiger Moth, said Peters. And just to finish up the reading, NACTV. Highlights of the week: Coffee Chat with Marilyn Crew, Home Buying Program, September 9th at 6, September 12th at 1:50, and September 14th at 2 p.m. White Mud Music Festival, September 9th at 7 p.m., December 11th at 1 p.m., and September 13th at 1 p.m. And the Minnesota Fun Fest Car Show, September 9th at 8:35 p.m., September 10th at 8:35 p.m., and September 13th at 11:30. And don't forget about our bigger bingo. It's every Wednesday night, and we are really searching for a bingo caller. It pays $20 every time you call the bingo, and community announcements are only $2 per day and airs 2 to 3 times per day on NACTV. And that concludes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, September 5th, 2025. I hope you enjoyed it.